just couldn't care less. And what's interesting is like, you know, here's your store, and here's kind of where the client is trying to check out at the checkout counter. And his aides, his secretaries, everyone got the message. And the mayor had since then had a truly open administration since the day his store was symbolically thrown away, and he had complete, you know, I could say, hey, you know, with the example with Coolidge, right? You know, very, very pretty dress. You look amazing today. Awesome, awesome stuff to a secretary. Then it maintains the validity of the original compliment, of the original praise, of the original positivity. And they take suggestions super seriously. It works out really, 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 really well. Really, really powerful, powerful example of this. Think about, you know, saying, we're really proud of you, Joni, for raising your grades this term. But if you had worked harder on your algebra, the results would have been better. It makes the original statement sound like it was bogus crap, and now it doesn't mean anything. To this kid, he instantly, you're gonna question the sincerity of the original praise. And it seems just like bogus. And all you have to do to overcome this challenge is to just change the word but to and. Really proud of you, Johnny, for raising your grades this term, and by continuing the same conscientious efforts next term, your algebra grade can be up with all the others. Now this guy feels awesome, can accept the praise, because there was no like follow-up of an inference of failure. Instead, the attention is called to the behavior that you want to focus on, and then you can indirectly change the other behavior by just sort of referencing it at the end. And the chances that the other person will actually try to fulfill the full expectations, will actually try to fulfill their full potential, is significantly increased. Because what you want to do when you use and is praise like model behavior, and then use your and statement, and then say, you know, if dot 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 dot, you could do dot 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 dot, really, 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 really well, be awesome, right? And you just want to carefully, just gently suggest that you use what you were using over here to perform better over here. And that will make the person want to do it because they feel awesome about this, and so they want to feel awesome about this. And it just links the two very, very genuinely, and it just works insanely well. When you call attention to someone's mistakes indirectly, it works in a way that allows people to maintain their confidence and maintain their sense of self. With sensitive people who might resent direct criticism bitterly, you can really boost up their egos by just sort of indirectly criticizing, by giving a ton of praise at the beginning and then just having a little bit of indirect suggestion of their next actions at the end. Because people will gradually improve over time. It's just a matter of time. And so you just have to give them sort of a direction to aim their goals at, and they will go towards their natural. Great example with Marge Jacob from Rhode Island, who was totally convinced that some sloppy construction workers outside cleaning up were just like, had it out for her. And it was harsh because they were basically building additions to her house, and for the first few days of work, when she came up, she noticed that their yard was just covered and covered and covered with cut ends of lumber. And she didn't really want to antagonize the workers because they really did an awesome job. And so sometimes what you can do, and this is something that I'll do a lot, especially as I'm bringing on new employees for companies, like you don't want to just say like, you're doing this wrong, do this instead, because people, it's just gonna crush those relationships and it's gonna hurt the overall quality of work that they do. And so just like the guy at the department store who literally owned the department store and went up to the register to check out these clients, you want to, at the beginning, just do the work on your own. Do it yourself. And so that's like, like in video editing, right? Love video editors. They're amazing. Changed my life. Best people on the planet. And if there's little tiny mistakes at the beginning, like don't worry about it, right? Just like, I'll just fix it myself. It's not a big deal. And then later on, much later on, then you can say, hey, you know, I love how you're doing this. Maybe you could do it just a little bit different here. Or just praise and praise and praise and praise, and they'll mimic the praise. People will do what you tell them they do awesome over and over and over again and get much better at it. It's really powerful. And you can, you know, emphasize this through like monetary rewards. You can emphasize it through social rewards. A lot of people really just want recognition for their work. And if you can just give them a feeling of significance by recognizing their actual work, recognizing who they are, recognizing what they love, recognizing what they're passionate about, that's a whole lot of stuff that a lot of people just ignore. And it's very valuable and very powerful. And so she didn't want to antagonize these yard workers. So after the workers went home, she and her children picked up and neatly piled all of the lumber debris in a corner. They just freaking did it themselves. And the following morning, she called the guys to the side and she said, and here's the key, right? She didn't take credit for it. She didn't say, you know, we did this and you did it. She said, I'm really pleased with the way the front lawn was left last night. It is nice and clean and does not offend the neighbor. And she indirectly praises them while also calling attention to the fact that they left a huge mess, but in a very, very subtle way because they cleaned it up. And from that day forward, the workers picked up and piled the debris to one side, and this leader came in every day seeking approval of the condition of the lawn that was left in after a day's work. All because this lady leveraged the insane power of massive praise. It was a game changer. It was amazing for her because she praised this guy. Really, really powerful concept. One of the massive areas of controversy between members of the army and the regular army trainers is haircuts. I know it's a couple of buddies, and I mean, you just shave it off, man. Grandparents, I mean, yeah, they're totally bald. Yeah. The reservists, they consider themselves civilians since they're like in the reserves, they're not actually like in the military, right? Like actively. And so since they're mostly civilians, they resent having to cut their hair super short. And here's kind of this interesting story that I thought was really powerful. It was about Master Sergeant Harley Kaiser, the 542nd USAR School, and he addressed himself to this problem when he was working with a group of reserve non-commissioned officers. I mean, these guys are just working to try to help their country, which is super powerful. And as an old-time sort of regular army master sergeant, he might have sort of been expected to yell at these troops and to threaten them, which is what most people did. But instead, he chose to make his point indirectly, and he said, "Gentlemen, you are leaders. You will be most effective when you lead by example, just like this lady and her kids who cleaned up her yard, just like this store merchant who went and rang the client out, just like the Schwab when he led by example and gave these guys kindness. You must be the example for your men to follow. You know the army regulations say about haircuts. You guys got this. And I'm gonna get my haircut today, although it is still much shorter than some of yours. You look at yourself in the mirror and you feel you need a haircut to be a good example. If that's you, then we'll arrange for a time for you to visit the post barber shop." He goes out and he stands in front of everyone. He says, "I'm going to do exactly what I'm asking you guys to do. And if you guys think that it's just something that you should do to serve your country better or to be better, you know, military men or whatever, then you can come and you can follow my example and join me." And this is why like I'm constantly always training, because like I don't want to be sharing people really powerful investing strategies and teaching others how to invest if I'm not doing it myself. Like that would be crap, right? So I'm always in the nitty-gritty, always going hard on it. First of all, because I freaking love it, but second of all, because it's so much easier to inspire mass movement when you're actually doing it, following, and having us follow by example. That's the key. And the results were very predictable. Several guys, you know, they looked in the mirror and they went to the barber shop that afternoon and received regulation buzz cut. And Sergeant Kaiser commended these men the next morning. So the people that actually went out and did it, they were called out the next morning and they were given public praise to build up their face, right? Build up your face. And it built up how their peers saw them. It made them feel really special, really important, really significant, and really impactful. And then more and more people started to do it. And he said that he could already see leadership qualities developing in these individuals because they freaking did it on their own accord. And he cared that they did it, but not that much. And because he didn't care that much, they went and did it on their own. And now they're gonna be committed to it for so much longer than they would be committed to it if they were forced to do it. Similarly, on March 8th, 1887, a long time ago, Henry Beecher died. And the following Sunday, Lim Habakkuk, was that author we were talking about, was invited to speak in his, funeral, and he was, quietly talking about Beecher's passing. And this lady, this guy was eager to do his best, so he wrote and he rewrote and he polished his sermon, meticulous care, over and over again. He read it to his wife, and here's the deal: he was really poor, as most speeches are when they start out. And his wife, obviously could have said, this is terrible, it'll never do, you'll put people to sleep, it reads like an encyclopedia, you ought to know better than that after all your years of preaching, for heaven's sake, why don't you talk like a human being, why don't you act natural, you'll disgrace yourself if you ever read that stuff. So she might have said, but if she did say that, you guys know what would happen. You focus on negativity and you tell somebody, you stand up here and you say, this is terrible, bad, awful, you did a terrible job. And someone walks away after showing you their work, they're gonna feel awful. They're gonna be so sad. And this lady, she understood that. She realized that she could not do this. This would destroy this guy's chances of making a quality speech. And so she merely remarked, very lightheartedly, in a very brief statement, that it would make an excellent article for North American Review. And in other words, she praised it by saying that it deserved to be in this very astute, historic American journal. this publication. She said it was awesome, very high quality, and at the same time she subtly suggested that it wouldn't do as a speech because it read so much like a nonfiction article. And Abkahi saw the point, tore up his carefully prepared manuscript, destroyed all the work that he'd been doing, and prepared to go out there, and he preached without even using notes because he was inspired by his wife to go out there and be more and do more and to have this achievement, have the success, and do it on his own accord with his own words rather than like trying to script the whole thing out. And it worked phenomenally because he was able to take a very light hint after a great amount of positive praise. So the key, and really the core for an effective way to correct others' mistakes and to get them on your page is to call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. And if you can do that, you can have any change that you want as fast as you'd like in a positive and excited manner from the people that you're working with, which is really powerful. So definitely a huge movement thing. I'm gonna help you guys get a ton of value out of this module. Go out there, apply it, absolutely crush it, and I will see you in the next module. Thank you, bye!